$800 a month. Not for rent, not for a mortgage. That is the average monthly car payment in America right now. And the car you're paying for? It's not a BMW. It's not a Mercedes. It's a basic mass-market SUV that your parents would have bought for half the price a decade ago. Here's a number that should terrify you. The average new car in America now costs just under $50,000. $50,000. That is more than the median annual income in 15 US states. You would need to hand over an entire year's salary, before taxes, before rent, before food, just to buy a car. And the most shocking part of this story? It's not an accident. It was engineered. The auto industry didn't stumble into this crisis. They built it on purpose. Over the next 12 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how the auto industry abandoned the middle class, why your next car might cost more than your first house, and the ticking time bomb hiding inside 60 million American car loans right now. We'll trace the timeline from the golden age of affordable driving to the calculated death of the budget car, and I'll reveal the one number that tells you this entire system is about to crack. But that comes at the very end. First, let's go back to a time when buying a car didn't require a financial advisor. To understand how broken things are now, you need to remember how good they used to be. Rewind to 2018. The average new car transaction price was around $36,000. Interest rates sat below 5%. A family earning $60,000 a year could comfortably finance a new SUV for under $450 a month. That was manageable. That was normal. Meet Jay. Jay is a warehouse supervisor in Columbus, Ohio, earning about $55,000 a year. In 2018, Jay walked into a dealership and drove out in a brand new Nissan Rogue for $31,000. His monthly payment was $420 over 60 months. He didn't sweat it. Gas was $2.60 a gallon. Insurance was reasonable. Jay still had money left over for his daughter's softball league and a weekend fishing trip once a month. That was the deal America was built on. You work hard, you get a reliable car, you live your life. And it wasn't just Jay. In 2019, automakers sold over 17 million vehicles in the US. Subcompacts like the Chevy Spark started at under $14,000. The Nissan Versa, under $15,000. The Kia Rio, under $16,000. There was a car for every budget. Every single rung of the economic ladder had a vehicle waiting for it. But here's the thing most people miss. That golden era wasn't just affordable. It was profitable. Automakers were making money at every price point. The system worked, so what destroyed it? The mid-2010s were the SUV's coronation. Automakers figured out that Americans wanted one vehicle that could haul groceries, survive a snowstorm, and still look good in the school pickup line, and they delivered. Between 2015 and 2019, SUVs went from 45% of the market to over 50%. The Ford Escape started around $25,000, the Toyota RAV4 around $26,000, the Honda CR-V roughly the same. These weren't luxury vehicles. They were the workhorses of the American middle class, reliable, affordable everywhere. Dealers couldn't keep them on lots. Credit was flowing. Loan approval rates were high. The average loan term was around 68 months, and most people could handle it. This was the peak. The American auto industry had perfected a formula. Build a good SUV, price it for the middle, finance it over 5 years, and repeat. Everyone won. The factory worker in Michigan kept a job. The family in Texas got a new car. The dealer made a sale. The bank collected interest. It was a machine that printed prosperity. And Jay? Jay was already eyeing his next upgrade. A slightly bigger SUV for the family camping trips he'd been planning. He figured he'd trade in the Rogue in 2022. Maybe pick up a Hyundai Palisade for around $35,000. Seemed reasonable, seemed possible. But the machine Jay trusted was about to be dismantled, piece by piece, and the people dismantling it were the same ones who built it. What nobody saw coming was that the auto industry would use a crisis as a business model. In 2020, the pandemic shut down factories worldwide. Semiconductor shortages strangled production. Suddenly, there weren't enough cars. Basic supply and demand kicked in. Prices surged. By 2021, the average transaction price jumped to over $43,000. Dealers added markups of $5, $10, even $15,000 over sticker price. And here's where it gets wild. When supply recovered, prices didn't come back down. Automakers looked at their balance sheets during the shortage and saw something remarkable. They had sold fewer cars but made record profits. Ford posted nearly $12 billion in operating profit in 2022. Stellantis hit nearly 20 billion euros. The lesson was clear. Volume is overrated. Margin is king. So they made a choice. Instead of ramping production back up and competing on price, they kept inventory lean and prices high. They called it discipline. Analysts called it a new baseline. I call it the biggest wealth transfer from middle-class car buyers to corporate shareholders in automotive history. Then came the culling. One by one, the affordable cars started disappearing. Chevy killed the Spark in 2022. The Nissan Versa and Kia Rio followed. Ford eliminated every sedan from its lineup except the Mustang. Infiniti axed its entry-level crossovers to focus exclusively on premium models priced above $50,000. By 2025, there were 0 new vehicles available in America under $20,000. Think about that. In the richest country on earth, you can count the affordable new cars on one hand. And Jay went to trade in his Rogue in 2022 like he planned. The Palisade he wanted, it wasn't $35,000 anymore. It was $48,000. His trade-in value was decent because used car prices had also skyrocketed. But the math still didn't work. His monthly payment would jump from $420 to over $700. Jay walked out of the dealership that day without a new car. He kept driving the Rogue. But the truly terrifying part? Jay was one of the lucky ones. He still had a car that ran. Now here's where the story takes an even darker turn. The auto industry bet everything on SUVs. Every brand, every lineup, SUVs everywhere. And for a while it worked. But in 2026, the cracks are impossible to ignore. Dealer lots across America are sitting on a 75-day supply of vehicles. Some SUV models, particularly the ones nobody asked for, the rebadged crossovers with forgettable names, are sitting for 200 days or more. They're depreciating on the lot before anyone even test drives them. It's a value collapse in slow motion. But here's the paradox. Even as inventory piles up, prices aren't falling much. Why? Because automakers would rather offer incentives, financing deals, and cashback than actually lower the sticker price. Lowering the price would reset the baseline, and they will fight that with everything they have. So instead, they're pushing the problem onto the consumer through financing. And this is the time bomb. The average monthly car payment has crossed $800. Let me put that in perspective. That's the equivalent of a second rent payment for millions of Americans. It's 2 full weeks of groceries for a family of 4, gone. Every single month. For 7 years. Because that's the other part of this. Loan terms have stretched to 84 months. 7 years. You're financing a depreciating machine for nearly a decade. And if something goes wrong, a job loss, a medical bill, a recession, you're underwater on a loan for a car that's worth less than what you owe. The numbers confirm the damage. Auto loan delinquency rates have climbed for 5 consecutive years. Serious delinquencies, the ones where you're 90 days or more behind, are at a 14-year high. 5.2% of subprime auto borrowers are seriously delinquent. That's not a warning sign. That's a fire alarm. And remember that one number I promised you? Here it is, $1.6 trillion. That is the total outstanding auto loan debt in America. It's larger than the entire GDP of Australia. What if interest rates had returned to pre-pandemic levels of around 4%? The average borrower would save roughly $120 a month. Multiply that across 60 million active auto loans, and you get over $86 billion a year back in consumers' pockets. That money could have gone to groceries, savings, or small businesses. Instead, it's servicing debt on cars that lose value every day. So what does this mean for you personally? Let's be blunt. If you earn under $75,000 a year, the new car market has left you behind. That's not opinion, that's arithmetic. A $50,000 car at 7% interest over 72 months costs you $710 a month. Financial advisors say your total car costs, payment, insurance, gas, maintenance, should stay under 15% of your gross income. At $75,000 a year, that's $937 a month total. Your payment alone eats 76% of that budget before you've bought a single gallon of gas. Jay feels this every day. He's still driving that 2018 Rogue. It's got 130,000 miles on it now. The transmission is starting to slip. He took it to a mechanic who quoted $4,000 for the repair. Jay can't afford a new car. He can barely afford to fix the old one. And he's not alone. A recent survey found that 46% of Americans say they could not afford an unexpected car repair of $500 or more. The used car market, which was supposed to be the safety valve, is broken too. Average used car prices are hovering around $28,000. The affordable cars that used to trickle down from new to used are vanishing because they were never built in the first place. The pipeline is drying up. Here's a question for you. How many paychecks would it take you to buy your current car outright, right now at today's prices? Count them. That number tells you everything about where you stand in this new economy. The auto industry isn't coming back to save the middle class. They've moved on. The question is whether you'll adapt before the math catches up to you. Throughout history, the automobile represented something bigger than transportation. It was proof that the system worked. You put in the hours, and the system gave you mobility, freedom, independence. Henry Ford understood this. He paid his workers enough to buy the cars they built. That was the deal. In 2026, that deal is dead. The auto industry has decided that fewer, wealthier buyers are more profitable than millions of middle-class families. They've turned the car from a tool of economic participation into a luxury gate-kept by credit scores and 7-year loans. But every bubble has a breaking point. $1.6 trillion in auto debt, record delinquencies, lots overflowing with unsold SUVs. The math doesn't lie, and math always wins eventually. So here's the question I want you to sit with. If the average American can no longer afford the average American car, what exactly is the economy building for? And who is it building for? If this video made you rethink your next car purchase, hit that subscribe button. We break down the economic forces shaping your daily life every single week. Drop a comment below and tell me, what would you do if your car broke down tomorrow? Could you afford to replace it? I'll see you in the next one.